CC family, what's going on? It's Brother Jason here, as with me as always, our great host, Peyton. He's doing a great job with this, and we're excited about everything. A little bit of news on the scooters front. I try and give you an update every chance I get. Still not a sponsor.
Still not.
Still not a sponsor.
But we're still getting it.
We're still enjoying it every week.
We are.
But here's the big news. Lafayette is getting 2 new scooters. So instead of sponsoring us, they're putting their money into making bigger buildings and other stuff. We're getting one on Johnson Street, so really close to the house. So, yeah, I know we've had a great time doing this rewind. I hope everybody's enjoying it, too. I know Peyton's got some questions for me. So, Peyton, go ahead.
Absolutely. So we started a new sermon series this past week. We are reading a proverb a day in May.
Right.
Kind of a tongue twister, but what you did was this Sunday we did a different verb in Proverbs. So if you want to tell us a little bit about what this series is about, what we're going through, kind of pretty much a brief summary about what the sermon series we're going through is.
Yeah, like Peyton said, it's Proverbs, and the verbs in the graphic slide is very bolded. So it's like positive verbs, and just action steps that we can take to live a life that is full as the Lord wants us to. Scripture says, He came to give us life and have that life more abundantly in John 10:10. So that's sort of kind of what this sermon series is all about, going over different action steps. And we began this week in Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 7 by looking at looking at fearing the Lord and what that means.
Absolutely. So kind of going along right with that, what does it mean to actually fear the Lord?
Well, when we think of the word fear, we think sometimes about just being scared, like going to the dentist or seeing a snake, being scared that way. But this word fear in the scriptures, and how the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and knowledge is the prerequisite for wisdom, which we know Proverbs is all about wisdom. This idea of fearing the Lord is about a reverential respect and a place of awe that we hold the Lord, that we keep Him as the supreme, preeminent person in all things in our lives, whether it be as individuals, for our family, as a church, whatever it may be. So that's kind of what it means to have this fear of the Lord, that He is the top dog. He is absolute, above all, the authority. And that's kind of what we start out looking at this week by looking at the profit of fearing the Lord, the priority of fearing the Lord, and the point of fearing the Lord. That was the first point, what it actually means to fear the Lord.
You hear a lot of people say, I remember specifically there's a video of a football player who gets into an argument and he says, "I don't fear you, I fear God." Right? Yeah. So for someone, a lot of people say that, but they don't really know actually what it means or what it looks like. So if you could tell us, what does that look like in our everyday life? What would that be?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we think about fearing the Lord in that statement, for example, we're not supposed to fear man. I'm going to fear God. And, it's a great punchline, it's a great tagline, but really what it means to fear the Lord in our everyday, it means if God says something, we don't question it. We just simply obey it. And it's not so much we're not able to ask God to explain or help us understand better. It's just when God makes a very clear statement in the scriptures about what we are supposed to do, then we do that. And if there's a very clear statement in scripture of what we're not supposed to do, and we were doing that, then we immediately cease doing that. That's what it looks like in our everyday. So just look through the 10 Commandments. Don't have any idols. Okay, God says no idols. I'm not going to bow down to any idols. Don't covet your neighbor's things. Okay, not going to covet. It's just I hold God in such high reverence and esteem that I know that I'm just going to just simply be obedient to what He tells me to do. And there is an element of a little bit of a fear. Why would I fear God like that? Well, He's earned that right because of what He's done for us, the world He created. There's so many ways that God has earned that right of preeminence, but also, because of who God is and I know who I am, I do almost live in a state of, if I don't, what can God do?
Absolutely.
And that's what it really means. It boils down to in our everyday. That's what it looks like.
So that relates a lot to church people as well as not church people. But for somebody who may go to church or who may not go to church, why do people not just simply obey and fear the Lord?
I think it's because we think too highly of ourselves. I think and the flip side of that is we think too much of ourselves and we think too little of God.
Wow.
I really think that's the bottom line. I think when we look at Christianity across the whole spectrum of everything, it's a situation where people just think they're in control, that they're the boss. And we're taught that way. We're taught to be the best, to be the boss. But the fact is, when you understand that we would be nothing without God and we can do everything with God and because of God, the common denominator there is God. He's the one that we have to submit to. I think a lot of people just haven't judged that and made that decision in their life that I can still be successful in my life while being obedient to God. You look at businesses like, Chick-fil-A and Mardell's Christian Bookstore and Hobby Lobby, stores that said, we're not going to be open on Sundays.
Right.
Their parking lots are full all the time, no matter where they're at. I think it's just because even in a corporation, they made a decision that we're going to obey what God said. You're not going to go into a Hobby Lobby and be able to buy liquor. They don't stand on those principles. They believe what God said, and they take God at His word. And that's just kind of what I think the main issue might be.
That's good. So can you give us an update of what we can expect this coming week?
Yeah, big week coming up at ABC next Sunday for us. Of course, it's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Ma Boo, happy Mother's Day.
Mom, happy Mother's Day.
There you go. But it's also going to be Graduate Sunday here, so we'll be honoring our graduates. We have 2 graduates this year. Just ordered the gifts for the moms. Going to go pick that up this week. Really excited to give that all to the moms. And being Mother's Day, we're going to be looking at the last proverb, which is the virtuous woman, and we're going to look at being virtuous. It'll be a message not just to the moms, of course. It'll be a message to all the ladies in our church and all the men as well, everybody in church, because the children are spoken of in that chapter. Her husband is spoken of in that chapter. She is spoken of in that chapter. So I think it'll be a message that really applies to everybody. Just a lot of great things coming up next week at ABC.
That's good. A lot of good stuff happening at ABC.
Yeah, really excited.
Media-wise, we're exploding right now. It's going to get a lot more, especially that school's over now, and I can kind of focus on that. But there was something that you posted this week about a devotional, about a song that we're going to sing this coming week. Yeah. So can you tell us about a little bit about that, what that was?
It was Why Do We Sing? And the song is Jireh. Why Do We Sing Jireh? A song by Elevation and Maverick City Music. A lot of people have recorded it. We've sang it here before, but Parker and I, your brother, are actually collaborating in this, doing some devotionals together. I'll use the ones that he does. He's using the ones that I put together. We're kind of using the same format, just changing the branding. And the reason I'm putting that out there is we both feel like there's so many great new songs that are out there that a lot of people have never heard of. And because they've never heard of them, there's an automatic, I don't like that song.
Right.
It's just kind of a thing we have in church. If it didn't come out of an old hymnal, then it's not a scriptural song. We're not realizing that all hymns were new at one time, but we want everybody to understand the point of the songs. So that's kind of what that little devotional is. It's not a long-term devotional, just kind of something you can glance through and listen through. And I hope it's a blessing. I'm going to try and do one tomorrow for the song Gratitude that we're also singing Sunday. So be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely. Really quickly, you have anything you want to close this with or say anything?
I'm good, man.
All good. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We hope that you enjoy our Sermon Rewind. Stay tuned for next week, and thank you guys for watching.
Thanks for watching.